Hi girls, Mr. Gilmore here again. So today we're going to be looking at area, perimeter and volume again. This is our third lesson, so it's the 20th of March. And today we're going to be looking at area of a rectangle. So far we've been looking at perimeter. Next we're going to go and look at area, which is pretty much just the amount of space the object takes up. So area is just how much area it covers. Now, because we're looking at a two-dimensional shape, we're looking at something that's going to be like both height and width. So we use a slightly different unit, and I'll get into that in a second. First, though, we need to come up with a formula for finding the area of a rectangle. So let's have a look at some rectangles I've made here. And again, I'm doing my diagrams in pen. I'd advise you guys to do yours in pencil, because you guys will... I'm really just doing this in pen so you guys can see. Now, what I'm going to tell you is actually these boxes are 2 centimeters wide and 2 centimeters high. I'm using some scientific graph paper for this. I'm going to pretend that they're 1 centimeter wide and 1 centimeter high. I'm not going to be, holding a ruler to it, so all the better. And so we're just going to say for this square, it's 1 centimeter wide, 1 centimeter high, okay? Now, what we define the unit that'll measure one of these boxes out is 1 centimeter squared. So remember, we were learning squared means, this by this. So it's really kind of 1 centimeter by centimeter, but that's a crazy way of writing it. So we just say 1 centimeter squared. And hey, wait a second, this is a square, so that's where the word squared comes from. And we'll look at another value here. So we'll look at this one here, look at this square, and we can see, okay, that's 2 centimeters wide, 2 centimeters high, and then we'll just count how many centimeter squared boxes there are, okay? So we can go, okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's 4 centimeters squared. And I know for some of you, you will have done this in primary school. That is fine. But for this, we're just going to be working our way back through it. Okay, so this one's 4 centimeters squared. We could count out the boxes. Let's look at this one here. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 4 centimeters wide. 1, 2, 3. 3 centimeters high. Now, many of you will be working on boxed paper. Those are rarely ever a whole centimeter high and wide. So don't just say, okay, this box means 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. It probably doesn't. But for this one, we're just going to say, okay, 4 centimeters wide, 3 centimeters high. So let's measure out the boxes that show up on this one. I'm just going to very badly sketch out the boxes inside it. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so this 4 by 3 box, or 4 by 3 rectangle, that's 12 centimeters squared. So, can we see any pattern going on here? If it's 1 centimeter wide and 1 centimeter high, it's 1 centimeter. It's 2 centimeters wide and 2 centimeters high. It's 4 centimeters squared. If it's 4 centimeters wide and 3 centimeters high, it's 12 centimeters squared. So what I'm hoping you guys will notice is, wait a second, 2 multiplied by 2 is 4 centimeters squared. 1 centimeter multiplied by 1 centimeter equals 1 centimeter squared. Similarly, 4 centimeters by 3 centimeters, that's going to equal 12 centimeters squared. We have a formula. We have a way of doing this. That if we just take the height, okay, so 3 centimeters for this one, and multiply it by the width, then it'll end up equaling area of a rectangle. Okay, so let's write that into our kind of general little page that we work off of. So back to this area of a rectangle, that's going to be height by width. Now, what you might notice is in this one, I multiplied 4 by 3, but 3 is the height and 4 is the width. Remember, this is multiplication. We can swap the values for multiplication. So I'll put up my hands there. We can swap the values for multiplication without there being any problem. Because, as we have learned before, multiplication is commutative. So, area rectangle equals the height by the width. Or if we want to do this kind of using our algebra, using our notation, we don't write down height multiplied by width every time we do these kind of things. So we'll just go h multiplied by w, with h being height, w being width. Simple as. And the units for this are, you know, centimeters squared, meters squared. You could measure land in kilometers squared, and so on. So I think they give the area of Ireland, for example, in kilometers squared. Now, the other thing you need to keep an eye on here, girls, is that, yes, 1 meter equals 100 centimeters, grand, but 1 meter squared does not equal 100 centimeters squared. 1 meter is 1 meter. 1 meter squared is the same as 100 centimeters by 100 centimeters. So 1 meter squared actually equals 10,000 centimeters. So just keep that in mind. You need to keep the same units as you're multiplying, okay? So, let's look at a few examples. Examples are always great. So let's have a look at this question here. We've got 2 centimeters high, 3 centimeters wide. So that's going to be 2 centimeters multiplied by 3 centimeters. That's going to equal 6 centimeters squared. And there we go. You've got the area there. 6 centimeters squared. Similarly, 3 by 5. 3 centimeters by 5 centimeters equals 15 centimeters squared. Okay, 15 centimeters squared. So most of the initial questions you guys will do tonight will be questions like this. We're going to move on to a slightly tougher set of questions. And I'm trying to keep this video short, so I might go through this nice and quickly. If you need to review over it, circle back and you'll be able to see it again. Okay, so let's look at this here. Here we're trying to find out how much wall do we need to paint here. So we've got 2 windows. Just going to draw in little windows here. And we've got a door. We need to find out how much of the wall do we need to paint. Now, we can imagine this area here, where the amount of wall is going to equal the total area of this major square minus the windows minus the door. So, area of window equals 1 meter squared, right? We can see that 1 by 1. Area of door equals 1 meter by 2 meters equals 2 meters squared. Great. So the area of the wall is going to equal 5 meters by 5 meters. So this whole square minus the area of the door, 2 meters squared, minus the area of both of the windows. So minus 1 meter squared, minus 1 meter squared. So From that, we're going to get 25 meters squared minus 2 meters squared. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to group all of these together. That's going to be the same. Minus 2, minus 1, minus 1. So negative 2, take away 1, take away 1. That's going to be negative 4 meters squared. I know some of you sometimes struggle with this. Feel free to take out a calculator and fill that in if you need to. But for this, I'm just going to keep on going. So that's going to be the same. 21 meters squared. Okay, so that's the area of our wall there. So if we needed to find out how much we needed to paint, if you were a painter and you needed to find out how much you should be paid and you were paid by the meter squared, you could calculate that out and you could charge someone accordingly. Final concept here. So we've kind of done a few simple examples, we've done a slightly harder one, and then there's one other type of question that's going to show up on your work, and it's going to be something like this, where we're trying to find out what is the shaded in portion of this flag, okay? Now, there's actually two ways to solve this. One of the ways is to break this into parts, okay? If you break this into 10 by, if we say, okay, these sections, this is 20 centimeters, this is 20 centimeters, this is 10 centimeters, this is 10 centimeters, then you can say, okay, the area shaded in here is going to be this, plus this, plus this, plus this, plus this, okay? So you can go, I'm going to call these area 1. Wish I hadn't shaded these in now. So I'm going to call that area 1, area 2, area 3, area 4, and area 5. Now there are other ways to solve this, and I'm actually going to ask that you guys give a try at coming up with another way to solve this, and maybe even post it in the comments, just for fun. So area 1 equals 10 centimeters by 20 centimeters, so that's going to equal 200 centimeters squared. Area 2 is going to equal 10 by 10, so 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters, so that's going to equal 100 centimeters squared. Area 3 is the same as area 1, so that's going to equal 200 centimeters squared. Area 4 is the same as area 2. It's going to equal 100 centimeters squared. And then finally, we've got that area 5, 10 by 10. Area 5 equals 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters equals 100 centimeters squared. Okay, and then we just add those together. So 200 plus 100 plus 200 plus 100 plus 100. That's going to be 400, 500, 600, 700. Okay, 700 centimeters squared. Remember, this is not 7 meters squared. It's not. This is 700 centimeters squared. When we hit square numbers, it gets a little more tricky when converting between units. Okay. Now, that one is probably the toughest level of a question I'm going to give you girls tonight. Don't worry, you'll try some other questions before you reach that level. Can you guys pop on to pages 201 through 204 in your textbooks? Do questions 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 17, and 18. Okay, so that again is about 8 questions. This isn't touching upon any of the area of a triangle question. So today we're doing rectangles. On Monday we will do area of a triangle. We'll kind of build our way up that way. Okay. As always, post it to the Microsoft Teams group. Most of you are going fine with the Microsoft Teams. There's been 1 or 2 people struggling to upload things. I'll help you guys out as much as possible. As always, those Microsoft Teams assignments tab can be a bit unreliable. So if it does take a little bit of time for these things to come up, don't worry. you can upload it a little bit later on, okay? And this work, I'm going to say, is due for Monday. As always, try to get it done as quickly as possible, so you've got the weekend to yourself. And good luck, girls. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.